Hello, hello. Let's see, let's count it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another great episode of Breaking Bread with Corey. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm just going to get myself situated. How's everybody's week doing? Hope everybody had a great weekend. We are on Thursday. I can't believe it how fast things are going. Wow, it is just insane. So let's see. I just want to make sure all my settings are golden. See if all my settings are golden. Hope everybody's doing well. Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome. We have a great show for you today. Hey, everybody. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you. Like I said, hope everybody had a great week. It's already Thursday. Things are flying by. A lot has happened. A lot is happening here in the Pacific Northwest. Things are starting to open up slowly but surely. Seeing kids playing Little League with their mask on is pretty awesome. Being out on walks, and it seems like more and more people out. And I had a moment thinking of my future with my son. I saw school buses. There's a school stop right in front of our place, and these little kids, little ones, were getting ready with their mask on, backpacks in hand, and they were so excited about getting on that bus and starting their day. And I just thought about my son, and I'm thinking man, this is going to be difficult, really difficult. I never thought I was going to have this hard of a time, but seeing those kids made me emotional. But it was a great thing to see kids getting back to hybrid learning. We went on a walk today, and we actually got assisted across the street by a cross guard. So it's very warming. There's a lot of hope out there, and I'm excited to bring this guest on that we're sharing the screen with today, because this winery that she's a part of actually brings hope, diversity, and women empowerment. It's all about women empowerment, and I love that. And this is one thing that I support here at Breaking Bread is women empowerment. We have to support the community of women, all women in the community, and it's a great thing to see. When I got all her information and saw what she was about, what her winery was about, I even became more and more excited about sitting and sharing the screen with her. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her on. Let's see if I can get that on. All right. Let's see if it connects. Hello.
Hey, Corey. Hi.
How's it going?
Good. It's good. I was listening to you talk about things opening up, and here in Santa Rosa we just hit orange. So
Oh, really?
yeah, very excited. Very excited about orange tier.
So the orange tier is it more like schools, businesses opening up? What is that like?
I think it's more also like restaurants being able to dine inside.
Very cool.
Yeah, and gyms. So gyms have just started opening up again. So there goes that
Very
excuse.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. It's so nice to see little by little, slowly but surely, the new normal is coming into effect, and everybody's embracing it, and everybody seems really supportive, especially in my community. Even when we walk, everybody has their mask on, even though they're outside. They're still being cordial, and it's really great to see. But I am so excited about the show. This whole time we've been talking, and I was excited about your wines, and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, okay, we gotta bust this. I have your Teneral Chardonnay 2017. I was going to bust it open right when we were talking because I don't know if people know how to open a screw cap, but the way I was taught, like, they told us not to ever open it this way because it looks like a liter of soda.
Mm-hmm.
So I always say if you just do it this way, see if with my fatherly strength, you just
Yes.
do it that way, twist from the bottom, and then the cap disappears. So all you see is the bottle in hand, and then you just pour that baby like so, and it is just good, 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 good. Look at that color. Oh
Yeah.
man. Oh. Woo! So excited to taste this thing. Why don't you go ahead, Vicki? And for those of you that are just joining us, I cannot introduce her without doing her justice. Let her do the intro. Go ahead, Vicki.
I'll
Go ahead
give
and introduce yourself.
I'll give the whatever the short version, right? This is I've been in the restaurant industry, restaurant wine, so started in the restaurant industry for my whole grown-up life for sure. It was not my intention to be here this many. I'm so thrilled and happy that I am, but my degree is in theater.
Wow.
And like a lot of people who were going to school for theater, I was waiting tables and tending bar. I would love to tell you that I had like some fabulous New York moment, but I went to college, the University of Kentucky, go Cats, and
Nice.
and was involved in restaurants and tending bar there. And when I graduated, my family had moved to Orlando to work for Mickey Mouse. So
Yeah.
I kind of followed suit. I was like, that sounds fun. I was in my early 20s and I stayed in the wine industry. Well, I joined a cool restaurant group that back in the day, and I'll tell you, it was back in the day. We had 40 wines by the glass, and we had a Cruvinet. It was very unusual. And so I learned so much about wine. I just fell in love with it. And since nobody had come along to discover me yet, and I always tell people I still had to eat and pay my bills, so I stayed in the wine business and the restaurant business, and it served me very well all these years later. But as a woman in this industry, starting 30 years ago,
Right.
when we talk about now how the BIPOC community that can, you walk in a room and you don't see other people who look like you in that room. Well, 30 years ago, I was a young woman, energetic, ready to go. I had the wonderful opportunity to get a job buying wine for Arnold Palmer's Bay Hill Club. But all of a sudden, you're in this kind of rarefied air, but you walk in the room, and I would always stand. I remember standing at the door first, looking in, kind of scanning the room,
Yeah.
and lots and lots and lots of white men in gray suits.
Right.
And me, me, my black mini skirt and boots. But it was a great experience, and like learning how to hold your own and stand in your power and realize that I had the power. I was the one that was in charge of buying there, and I can make those decisions. And I was told really early on, hey, don't worry. I know what you need here. I'll just send you what you need every week. You sit back and look pretty, and we'll all win. I was like, I don't know. That sounds to me like you're winning, but I don't know if I'm winning. So it was great. It was a great experience early on for me that set me on this path. But we see more and more women coming into the industry, and I've met some of the most fabulous women in my life through this industry. But we are still so underrepresented. And then when you talk about women of color, way, way down as winemakers, as executives in this industry. This is just really something that Jill, who is Teneral Cellars founder and CEO, when she brought me on, this was her main focus. Like, how do we empower women? How do we address this inequity, at least in our part of the world, you know, where we can make a change, how can we make a change? And
Right.
that's really, that's the basis of how we came to be. And we're babies in this, in, as Teneral Cellars, we launched in October.
Wow. Well, I'm very, very honored and privileged to be sitting here with you as your newly founded, you know, just more recently. And I love one of the things that I got to grab that grabbed my attention is one of your mission statements. What we believe in. Great wines require the balance of elegance and strength. It is the sublimity. Sorry, my dad tongue usually messes up. That draws attention while the bold calls out. Great wines deliver a message. Our wines stand up with confidence and says we can enable change together. And that is a powerful statement. We need to continue to create change and diversity and inclusion in all businesses, in our elements, in our communities. This is something that has to start, you know, I just don't see why there's not more people. And one thing that I could say is I got to call out my fellow male ambassadors. We need to do more. We can roll up our sleeves. We could do the work. And we got to be held accountable because you ladies are taking the reins and making, seriously, I got to say it bluntly, you are making us look bad. If you see the talent, the education, the passion that is out there, it is something that should be supported by all, and this is a must. And like I said, I love what you're about, what your passion is about, what Teneral Cellars is about. This is something that shouldn't be just the main focus, but it is because of the lacking, you know, and and like I said, I've said it many times throughout different conversations, seen it firsthand on the floor, on the retail side, selling the wines and going, well, where's this at? Mm-hmm. And then finding out, you're starting to search, scrounge up information. You're going, well, why is this not out there? Why are these women, why are these people, the community of color, why aren't they well represented? Why does it keep on being kind of hushed aside? Like you said, oh, we'll just give you this and you'll just sit back and look pretty and we'll, you know, that's what we'll do for you. You know, and so I definitely appreciate what you're doing, and just the dynamics of what I tasted out of this wine and smelled out of this wine when I popped it open. It just shows, again, creativity, education, passion, love. That is something that you just don't get from people saying, well, I'm just going to sit back and let it all, you know, I'm just going to go for the ride. I'm going to do this and I'm going to knock down walls. So it is just an amazing wine.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I do want to talk about the wine. I want to say thank you, though, also for giving me a forum to talk about what we do. And a lot of what you said hit home to me because it's another thing that we talk about. When we're talking about women's empowerment, you know, feminism is not gender specific. And I think that that's something that we just have missed out so much along the way. And the way that people want to present feminism as some kind of, you know, angry, anti-male sentiment, just not, right? We are in this together. And I have had, just thankfully, yes, I can give you my long line of the stories like I told you, sit back and look pretty, but I am so thankful to say that there have been so many men in my life as well that have seen what I could do, have encouraged me, have moved over to not make me have to elbow my way to have that seat at the table, right? They have said, we want you at this table with us. So that is very important. We are all in this together, and it's not going to change until we all get on that train together. And I really believe that. There is a feeling, though, that you know, necessity is the mother of invention, right? And as mothers, parents, you know, we talk about, you know, you really kind of took on a lot of this when you became a parent because of what we want to show our children. But as a mother, because that's all I can speak to, right? I want to stand up, stand in my power. I want to show my daughter what that looks like. And I want her to feel from the beginning that she's not having to make those you know, make herself smaller in any way or any of those kinds of things. So to me, that is very important. And as mothers too, we learn very much, like, if it's not going to, maybe it doesn't get done unless I do it. So I'm going to do it. And I think that, like, when you were talking about women really coming in and standing up here, it's just, it's time. It's so past time.
Oh, yeah.
And there are so many good, strong women who have said, okay, let's not sit around and wait for somebody to do this for us. Let's do it. So.
Yeah, no, it's this, again, I love the passion that is coming out, and I just feel like this is something that shouldn't just be told on your own. It should be part of what, like you said, part of the community. Mm-hmm. You have your male counterparts, some of male counterparts that have been very welcoming and supportive of what you do. But again, for me, I need to see more of that in everything.
We all do.
To me, when I've seen so much division in it, and that it is like, no, I feel kind of the same way you do. And, well, Corey, you don't know, you're this Latino, you're Hispanic, what do you know? What do you know? This is who do you are? Who do you think you are? Mostly right. To that point, even selling wine, to certain communities, it's like, well, you're trying to sell me this wine. Like, what do you know? And it's like, well, you're totally passing judgment on me. Don't do that. I mean, right. You should be, if you love wine, you should be, anybody that's trying to sell you anything, you should be going, oh, okay, I want to try that, Yeah. But instead you're looking at me as this point, and it's just like this sad thing, and we need to learn how to knock that down. And I don't know how you feel. I have maybe a slight bit, but that's why, as yourself, when you're talking about your daughter, it's like my son. When my son was born, I made a deal, and I told my wife this. I said, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that I leave him something good. Mm-hmm. I can't just stand around and go, yeah, have my hands in my pocket, live life, yeah, fine and dandy, but I want to make sure that he has opportunity and he doesn't get cut from something because of the way he's looked at. Right. And so, yeah, I totally love the message that you bring, and I love the passion you bring, and like I said, I love what Teneral Cellars stands for, and just the whole thing is, I love the whole thing. It's women run and women owned, correct?
Yes. And when I say that, I want you to know there's Jill Osher, who is our fabulous founder and CEO. There's me. And this is why, for fun, I have all of the sensory ninja wine guru. Yeah. I'm the vice president of customer experience, which is kind of, a lot. And we have a fabulous, who I say is the keeper of the wheels on the bus, Jen. She's a graphic designer. She is doing so much work with our social media and our customer service, everything. So, I mean, there are three of us plus a fabulous woman, Oti Berman, who basically we have brought on, because we're a startup, we're finding our sea legs here. We have lots of plans for growth and where we want to take that, as far as certainly walking the walk and talking the talk with diversity and inclusion. And Otisha is our director of diversity, and she is fabulous, energetic, younger than woman of color, and she has put together the diversity delegation to basically advise us to look at what we're doing, to kind of, I want to say, I don't know if keep us in check is exactly the right word, or the right term, but to be able to view what we're doing through a lens that Jill and I cannot view it, right? And so I think that one of the things that we learn on this journey is there's a feeling sometimes of you're like, I'm afraid to come out in front as clearly a white woman of privilege, and I know that, right? And put myself out there as saying Black Lives Matter, diversity and inclusion, and whatever, and have everyone go, yeah. But I think the only thing, but we can't like not do it because we're afraid of what people think about that, right? Too. So
Right.
we made the decision. This is who we are. This is what we believe. We are committed to it, and so much of it is knowing that there's just so much that you don't know, and taking those steps to learning what you can, to listening a lot, and Otisha and the diversity delegation really helps us with that. You know, I cannot walk in their shoes or have their experiences any more than they can have mine, but we can learn from each other, and that's really where we're going.
Right. I like, and again, another part of what you represent, just on your page alone, on your Teneral Cellars page alone, diversity makes us stronger. We believe diversity of experience, ideas, people weaves a thread of tapestry that builds our community. We need threads of every size, texture, and color. This ensures the tapestry is both beautiful and strong and enough to carry our community through the tough times. And that is the truth. Every conversation that I've just jumped on and listened in on, and everybody, it's been awesome because a lot of times I'm one of the only males jumping in these conversations.
Yeah.
But very welcoming. And the main point here is community and support. And I hear a lot of, it's not competition. We're not competing with each other. We are supporting each other. Right. And that's the thing that is continuously a thing that I hear and I love. Mm-hmm. And that is one of the things that I love continuously echoing through your wines and what you're about. Mm-hmm. It'd be different if you were talking, practicing what you preach, but you're doing it. You're doing it, and you're doing it well.
Well, thank you. And again, we're new in this, and I certainly feel every day that we're getting more and more of what I call our sea legs, right? To be able, and the more we get that, and the more folks that we have who get our message and who try the wines, that's going to be where we go, and then we're going to be able to do more of what we really want to do. And we do believe that wine can be a conduit for change, and that's our goal. But we are a wine company.
I love it.
And we are also committed to making delicious wines that are farmed sustainably. That's very important to us. We want to eventually, we are in the Sierra Foothills area now, where we are getting our wines from, where the wines are being grown, and Jill lives on a beautiful vineyard there in the Sierra Foothills in Fairplay, in the Fairplay AVA. Not a lot of people know about the area, and the wines that are coming out of there are really delicious. So we have that sustainable message. These are real wines made by real people, and I especially want this to be a discovery experience for people. We talk about community. We want this to feel like a real, not just a wine club where, I know every quarter I'm going to get, something sent to me. And this is like, these wines are chosen for lots of different reasons, and one of them is discovery. You're going to see with our next release, there's going to be a Chenin Blanc that, maybe a lot of people haven't had Chenin Blanc.
Yeah.
It's a fabulous spring summer wine. So interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're going to have a Barbera, which is delicious. And the Italian varietals grow so well there in El Dorado. So, and we're going to have a Merlot. So it's not, we don't want to like
Very
throw
nice.
everything out there that's,
Right.
and we're also going to have a Vermentino, which is fabulous
Very
from
nice.
that area. So I'm really
Absolutely.
excited. And also, I'm going to be honest with you, a little scared because you have a fabulous Chardonnay in your glass right now. This is our unoaked California Chardonnay. No oak at all, but it went through a little mallow. That's where you get that little, what I call drizzle of butterscotch over the peaches and apples. But so this is a Chardonnay, right? Like everybody understands Chardonnay. You're going to get you can have different levels and spectrums of Chardonnay, the big, buttery, oaky guys. And this one is much more focused on balance and acid and not oak. This is the only wine that we do under screw cap right now, but I'll tell you right now, and Jill knows this, we don't have a lot of capacity for bottling that way. But it's such a fabulous closure for wines that are meant to be drunk under 5 years, and our wines are. So you will likely see more screw cap coming from us, especially like on rosés and the light whites. I'm a huge fan of the screw cap. But we don't want to scare people to like go, oh my gosh, is everything going to be like something crazy that I don't know? But I want people to get to a place where they like go, Vicki, 30 years in the industry. My last job, I traveled to Spain and France and Germany. I've been all over tasting wines all over the world. I want there to be a feeling of comfort that we're not just putting something crazy thing out there, right? Like if I say Chenin Blanc, it may be something you haven't had, but also this is a wine that I know is pretty palate friendly, pretty, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. But we do want people to like open up a little bit with what their experience with wine.
Absolutely. I always say wine is like fingerprints. And the first thing that when you were just about to say it, when I tasted this bottle, I said Goldilocks. It's just right. Mm. It's a Goldilocks of wines. And you have wines that fall in one spectrum or the other. This one is a Goldilocks. It's just right. And I'm going to just tell you what I'm pairing it with. I'm pairing it with 3 different things, and I'm going to pull these things up.
Oh, good.
So I do things on the very easy going dad side, and I've always been like that even as a bachelor.
I'm big on what goes with goldfish. Yeah.
So I have these. I'm pairing it with these dates.
Yes.
I'm doing raw walnuts pieces. Okay, as you can tell, I'm a Trader Joe's dad, Trader Joe's shopper.
Me too.
And
you pulled that up there, and I knew right where all those came from because I am as well.
Freeze-dried bananas. And it absolutely went delicious with this bottle. Because you said it has a little mallow to it.
It does.
It actually just, it's funny because when I tell people I had issues with my sinuses since I was younger. I had a deviated septum. So more recently, I was able to smell more vibrantly. Mm-hmm. So the first thing that I smelled, you were talking about all the fruits that you were smelling, but it was really interesting. The minute I popped it in the glass, I smelled almost banana.
Yeah.
Like that bruised banana and coming out of it. Mm-hmm. And that's when I was like, this little combination that I put together was like, it was just beautiful.
Isn't it fun when that happens? And usually and really it is the simplest things. I tell people that with pairing a lot. When you get our 3-pack, there'll always be, we have worked with some amazing chefs. We have really been blessed to come. Our first 2 releases, just 2 amazing women who, and you see the beautiful. So there's like a real recipe if you go through the whole thing. But I'm with you, Corey. I so rarely do I take time to like really get in the kitchen and do it unless I'm doing like I'm entertaining for friends. Which let's face it, this past year we haven't done a lot of that, right? So I'm always like, okay, tell me 1 or 2 cheeses this pairs with. tell me if you're going to grab a charcuterie board, or what are the best nuts to go with it. Like what you just did there, that's my thing too. Sometimes I tell people, like, what's the best wine with cold pizza, right? Because let's face it, as parents,
Oh yeah.
sometimes that's dinner, right?
Yeah. Parents dinner, cold pizza, man. Especially when the kid gets to napping, you're like, okay, what can we scrounge up while the kid's napping?
That's
okay.
Here. And I don't even want to throw that in the microwave. I'm too tired for that. Yeah.
And that's the one thing I love about the magic of pairing. And I learned, believe it or not, when you were talking about the power of the mouse in Disney, when you're introducing yourself, I've always been a Disney fan. And one of the things that I learned, and one of the concepts that I actually grasped, was from Ratatouille, Remy.
I saw that in your name.
Yeah,
and of course, I went right there. I'm a Disney
and
mom.
It was funny because when I was working, my friends started calling me Ratatouille because I'd always put all these combinations, these fun combinations together. And I said, that's just the power of what Remy said. It's the power of magic, just putting this and this together, and you get this. You get this power of magic. And the simplest things, and I always tell a lot of my friends or wine drinkers that I talk to, I say, it's really just, the pairing is just very simple. It's simplistic. Not everybody has steak and rotisserie chicken and, filet mignon and, salmon in their fridge. So what do you have in your fridge? You have hummus, you have cold pizza, what do you have? And then you just start mixing it together, and that's how those combinations work. And I love that. And I love what this wine does. And you have two others that you have. Can you go into that too?
Well, sure. Well, so first of all, let me say, when we launched with this Chardonnay that you have now. So this is Teneral, for anyone who doesn't know, so you see the dragonfly.
Awesome. Yeah.
Teneral is the scientific term for when a dragonfly first comes out of its cast. So it's most vulnerable. Its wings are colorless, can't really fly yet. But over a short course of time, it gets that beautiful color in its wings, it gets its power, and then we know dragonflies can go backwards and forwards in 40-mile-an-hour wind, right? So Jill and I both love dragonflies. We've just felt a connection to them for different reasons in our life, but definitely kind of a spiritual connection. Bringers of light and peace, and that, to me, the power and vulnerability. And so we related with that. We didn't want to call it dragonfly something because it just seemed like that it had been taken a lot. So the Teneral idea is where it came from, and we knew that we could kind of make our own definition drawing from that definition. And we say Teneral is calling on the power within to transform the world with grit and grace, always being, always becoming. So first, this was from our first release, and
absolutely beautiful.
We made more of these wines with the idea of them being the core wines to be able to go through our different releases. So because every release is we're only making so much, so it's a limited quantity. It's only going to happen one time. And our first big release was our Sip with Purpose that honored Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yes.
And these wines are fabulous and special, and the labels are created by women artists. This was a 3-month release, and we sold out in 1 month.
That's awesome.
Which is fabulous, but also we're like,
love it.
Oh, okay. So luckily, we have our wonderful wines from the initial release, because we did make more of these with the idea that we would have this core going through, that people could always come and have something if we were in between releases. We just didn't know that we were going to be in between releases quite this quickly, but we're excited about it. I mean, nobody's complaining, right?
That's awesome.
So this is our Untamed Red Blend. This is 8 different varietals. More focused on Zinfandel and Sangiovese. It's like 52% Zen, but there's so many other things in it. And what I love about this, you talk about your Ratatouille idea and magic.
Yeah.
this is a wine where every time I go back for another sip, I get something different. And when you're smelling it too, the sensory experience, because there's Merlot in here, there's Petit Verdot in here, there's Malbec in here, there's Cabernet in here, there's Syrah in here. So every time something, it brings another something to the table. But this isn't a highly tannic wine. As I said, it's mostly Zinfandel, right, which is not heavy on the tannins. So it's something that you can sip along with a lot of different things. And by the way, like if you're going to grill a burger out or whatever, this guy is super good for that. This girl, I should say. So this is the Untamed, and the fanciful name Untamed we came upon because, again, in our conversations, Jill and I were just talk about our own feelings about our life as women, and I was reading this book called Untamed by Glennon Doyle, and it was just the same time that Jill and I were talking, and I said, have you read that book? And she said, no. I was like, go get that book. And by the time we talked again, she had read it. And we probably have both read it 5 or 6 times at this point now. And it's this feeling of being tamed, which I'm not saying that this is something that women own, but I can only speak as a woman. But this, by 8 years old, we are told, be polite, be a lady, be quiet, be small, don't cause trouble, right? Tame, 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 tame.
Right.
I have no idea where we get to this point where we're like, boys will be boys and you be a lady, right? So this feeling of letting out, we are untamed. We can break that now. And so we both loved that, and that's how this name came to be, the Untamed Red Blend.
Love the stories. Now, where did the whole idea of the RBG label come from? Because when I saw that, I was like, this is awesome. This is really cool.
Yeah, and again, we're tiny. This is 4 of us in a room, and at this time, OT had not joined us yet. Or maybe OT did join us before RBG. She was certainly part of that discussion. I'm sorry, OT. It's us talking, like, who moves us? We're talking now about empowering women, and who's one of the most, a warrior for women, but for men too, a warrior for equity and inclusion. And but as women, you think about so many things. I own my house. I am a single mom. I own my house. I couldn't have done that before. I mean, that's RBG. Credit cards, women having credit cards in their own name. So it's this feeling that we just all, and she had passed recently, and we're like, that's really what we want to do. We want to honor her. And we haven't brought up yet at this point that $10 from every 3-pack of any wine that we sell goes to a cause that supports women or women's empowerment or causes that women care about. Eventually, we are definitely going to talk about climate change and, Mother Earth and those kinds of things as well. Social justice, which is, our next release really is honoring the history of the Pride movement. So
nice.
So important things like this, but we wanted, since we're going to honor RBG, our cause has been the National Women's Law Center, which please check them out. And even now that we are out of the RBG wines, still as we sell the core wines, that's still the cause that our donations are going to for every 3-pack. When we move on to our next release, we will be supporting a cause that then will be linked more with that release. That's kind of the idea. We try and keep it as theme focused and purposeful as possible.
I love that. I love that whole thing, the brainstorming and just the thing of doing something purposeful, having a cause, doing something that is going to create movement, again, creating positives. Yeah. That is the most beautiful thing that you get out of your message, out of your words, is positive movement, continually positive movement. And as I drink this wine, you sense that through your wine. And a lot of people always ask me, well, how do you get that coming out of the wine? Well, I think it's because I owe that to another powerful woman in my life, was my mom. I'm a mama's boy, and I would say that, and proudly. And my mom, taught me a lot. And my dad worked as a truck driver, and he was always out. Mm-hmm. And so I was with her the majority of the time, but she taught me about love and romance. And when I smell something like this and taste something like this, I get all of that, all those lessons that were taught to me in this glass. And that's special. I love that. And that's how I feel about wine when I taste any wine, is I get this emotional connection with it. And I have really this nice connection with this wine. It's absolutely just beautiful. I love it. And I can't stop drinking it.
Oh, good. That's good. I mean, to me, that's what I call wines with soul. And that's very important, that especially with our message and who we are and what we're carrying forward, for the wines also to speak that way, for you to feel that connection and you to feel the passion. And wine is so subjective. It is one of those things that, there are people that like the big buttery Chardonnays. There are people that like a really bolder, highly tannic red wine. And we will be putting out some wines like that as well. I mean, we plan to go around whatever. We really released what I like to say, more finesse and elegance, and more in the middle, because I want people to go, yes, I see who you are right here. Here's kind of the core.
Right.
And we'll start playing around with things a little bit from here and there. There will always be, with every release, beyond the 3 wines that you would get in your release. I haven't talked about the Swarm Club yet. I definitely want to
talk about that. I wanted to talk about that. Yes.
The Swarm is our club, so it's free to join, and Swarm is 3 or more dragonflies. So that's where that came from. And again, in our brainstorming, some people where we would throw it out there, not within our group, but that sounds a little aggressive. We're like, okay. Then I like it for sure. But actually the idea of it is really not aggression that way. I mean, I kind of get that. I can get that, how it can sound that way, but it's more that feeling of community and together, and the idea of when women come together, they can make things happen. And so the Swarm, this Swarm, that you can be a 3-bottle club member or a 6-bottle club member. As I said, each release will have 3 new bottles. So if you're a 6-bottle club member, you're getting 2 of each. It's free to join, but you're then saying that you will receive the wines quarterly. We always send out emails before to let you know that they're coming and what is it going to be about. But every time that there's going to be a cause associated with these wines. The wines are thought out. Every single thing comes through me, wine-wise. And we have a fabulous consulting winemaker, a woman that I love and value personally. And we don't know, we're not saying her name right now because we haven't brought her on, for sure, for real, for all the whole package. But right now she is a huge help in guiding us with these wines. And it is we definitely will be bringing on a full-time woman winemaker, and then she will be tasked with bringing on an assistant for her to mentor, and it is our plan. We would love for that to be a younger woman of color to help bring up into the, to help balance the scales a little bit where we are with winemaking. But we're excited about that. We're excited about the wines. But when you join the Swarm, you know that it's going to be, you're sipping with purpose, because $10 of that 3-pack is going to be going, thank you, to, thank you, because I don't have mine with me, to the cause. And you know that the wines have been vetted through, you know, these are not, we're not just going out and going, okay, well, here's that, and we'll slap a label on it, whatever. We are producing these wines, and they are sustainably farmed. So you know that, and I feel, what I hope you feel is, the more that you get to know me and then taste the wines time and time again, that because we don't have a there, we don't have a winery for people to come and taste. And so I know that there is a level of trust, right? That you're going, okay, well, here's my hard-earned money, and but we want to earn that trust from you. We want you to feel good about that. And so quarterly, each one is themed. Right now, we were so thrilled with the idea of bringing in women artists to do the RBG labels, that we also are working with artists, and I won't say all of the things about what we have planned for the next release, but it's very exciting. So you can count on that. So that's the Swarm. You can sign up for our newsletter online, sign up for the Swarm. It's free, but then you will be getting the next release, which we plan for the end of May. We also do online cooking classes. We have one coming up this Saturday. Check us out, with Georgina Whalen, who did these recipes for the RBG release. We have women musical artists. We had a fabulous concert by Carsey Blanton, who is one of my all-time favorite singer, songwriter, activists. So we're doing all kinds of fun things.
Yeah, I saw that. You were so excited. It was I caught that conversation with you and DeShannon when you were talking about the concert. You're like, I can't believe it. We got her on. I was like, that's awesome.
I'm such a fangirl. I am such a fangirl. I'm not even lying.
I love it. Well, you know, it's, you know, I hate looking at the clock, because I know Instagram cuts us off at a certain time. But, you know, I got to say it now, just before we keep on going. But, you know, just thank you for what you do. Thank you for being an ambassador and another trailblazer. I consider every one of you that I talk to, every one of you, whether you think so or not, you're paving a trail for not just women, but for everyone. People like me, myself, just, you are creating movement. And that is something that we got to embrace and support. And I thank you for that. I thank you for sharing your time and sharing your wonderful, inspiring stories, the stories about yourself, and the stories about the labels and the winemaking. And I wanted to go into one thing that you said a few times. You said sustainable farming. For those that don't know sustainable farming, could you go into a little bit more detail? I think that's pretty important.
It really is. And I think a lot of people, you hear organic and you feel like maybe you know what that is, maybe you do or maybe you don't. There are a lot of rules and regulations there are a lot of things that you have to put yourself through to have organic on your label. But sustainability is, I mean, really, that's the meat of it all. This is you know, not using, we talk about glyphosate, right? And using the natural predators, the good bugs that eat the bad bugs, right? To cultivate that, to plant. If you see mustard around, like, you know, we just went through mustard season here. It's so beautiful, but there's a reason it's purposeful when you plant the mustard, for what it puts back into the soil. So it's this very looking at your vineyard in a way, and looking at world in a way of how are you utilizing your water. What are you using as far as putting back into the soil and taking away from the soil. We have goats that come and roam and do some of our, you know, hedging for us, basically,
Right.
instead of, so it's all kinds of, it's all of these things of thinking responsibly, farming responsibly, what is right and good for the land and for Mother Earth, basically, is, I mean, that's like a 25,000 foot view of sustainability.
Right.
But I really, anybody that's on that you're like, I have some questions about it. First of all, I'd say, send me an email always. I'm Vicki, V-I-C-K-I at teneralcellars.com. And I love to talk about things. I always tell people I could be your personal sommelier. I have people all over the country that send me their wine list wherever they are and ask me what they should be drinking. You can do that. But if you have questions about sustainability in farming and in production, I'm happy to answer them. We are going to be talking more about that. We're going to have some blogs about that on the site as well. But also look into it yourself. It's so important right now. And start asking those questions of the wines that you buy. Like, there are a lot of good people doing a lot of good things with sustainable farming. So I'm not saying, you know, that I think that you're going to find a lot of the other way, but ask those questions and pay attention, because it is really important, and it makes a difference in the wine as well, for sure.
Right. And to me, a lot of those wine producers that are doing something that is a little bit more conscious is just, they just seem like they're investing a little bit more in community as well. It seems like they're putting something back. If they're putting something here, we're saving this, we're going to make sure we give it back here too within the community. And that's important too. I like purchasing wines that have some sort of meaning behind it. Yes. It gives it gives you a better feeling when you purchase that bottle. You're just not buying a bottle just to buy a bottle, but if you have the time and slow down when you go to your local retailer and you're looking at, like you were saying, you know, if you want to look into it, you could ask people like yourself or the stewards that are on the floor. They might have information, or they can look up the information for you as far as certain labels, certain wineries that can offer sustainability like that, and offer a lot.
And folks that are farming sustainably, they love to tell you about it. So people will be very open, and there are some people that are doing a lot of great things. And it made me think of one other thing I just wanted to mention, because I know that we're coming to an end here. Sustainability, there is social sustainability that is also kind of been coined, and you're reading this out there. So also, you know, what is that? And that's something that also is very near and dear to us, the social sustainability. Like, are we paying people the right kind of wage? Are we, you know, are we taking care of people in that way? And then our give back, we're cause focused, and we are focused on community in that way as well. So social sustainability is another, I think, very important.
And another thing that brings a powerful message of what you and Teneral Cellars represent. That's a powerful message right there, and I love that. And like I said, as we are ending this show, again, I can't thank you enough for just sitting with me, sharing your time, sharing your wines. I love it. It went so well with the pairing. I always give this question, and I know we touched a little bit on it, but what would you say to the people out there that are just starting their journey into wine, or the middle, or their crossroads, they don't know where to go? Do you have a message for them, whether the women of color, the BIPOC industry? What would you say to them right now?
Oh gosh, well, buckle up. I say that, but more than that, I truly believe that this is the best industry in the world. I love this industry, and yes, so you know we have our broken parts, like a lot, but there's so much good here. And what I say is trust yourself, trust your own instinct, your own gut. If this is something that makes you feel excited, impassioned, empowered, go for it. Study, study, study. Taste every opportunity that you can to taste things different from different places. Never get stuck in a I hate Chardonnay place or a I just don't like white wine place. It doesn't mean that everything you're going to drink is going to be the wine that you want to pop open, you know, in your Tuesday night or whatever. But you're not going to learn unless you taste a lot, you smell a lot, you throw other people's tasting notes out the window and figure out your own sensory experience.
Right.
You know, when somebody's baking a blueberry pie, nobody ever walks in the kitchen and goes, I think that's blueberry pie, but I'm afraid to say it because maybe I'll sound stupid, right? It's all just wine that people do that with, right? We all have our own scent memories, our own scents, and own yours and go for it. And find people that you trust that have been in it longer and ask questions and yeah, come on. We need you. So come in. That's what I say. Come on.
Absolutely. And support industry, support community, support organizations and people like Vicki and Teneral Cellars. This is important. This is the time to do it. I always say, hey, if you're cracking the books, if you have a pin on your lapel, this is your opportunity to roll up your sleeves and do the work. I'll never forget when Obama said that it's time to roll up our sleeves. Well, it's time to roll up our sleeves and really do the work. And the more that we do it, the more we're going to have more representation like Vicki herself out there and doing her thing. Again, thank you so much for your time, your support, your wine. It's just absolutely beautiful. We got to do this again. We got to share more time and be in support with each other.
Maybe, Corey. Next release.
Yes. Absolutely. I'd love absolutely. That. We got to stay in touch. And like you said, like Vicki said, anytime you need her, you can get in touch with her at, where would you get in touch with you?
Vicki at teneralcellars.com. And somebody told me recently, this is when I feel very much like an old lady, that nobody like looks at websites anymore. Please go to our website and check it out. There's so much good stuff in there. Our wine philosophy and a lot of great blogs. And so please, teneralcellars.com. And that's how you can buy the wine, because we're not anywhere else. We're only online.
Absolutely. Support her wine, the wine club, Vicki, and all the rest of the wonderful ladies at Teneral Cellars. Thanks again so much.
Corey,
cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Cheers. Woo!
It was a pleasure. It was a real pleasure. Thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Vicki, from Teneral Cellars, for joining us and your wonderful wines. Don't forget, go onto their website. You can find Vicki at the Teneral Cellars Instagram page. You can find out more information from her. This is a women-powered, women-structured organization, wine selling winery. You got to support this. If you believe in the good cause, do it. This is your time to do it. Support it. And thank you so much for all that have joined us on this great conversation. Don't forget, we have a great conversation tomorrow with Abraham McDonald, Waves of Grapes, new ambassador to the industry. It's going to be a great conversation. You don't want to miss it at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And for all of you, again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. And thank you, all of you who have sat with me and shared the screen with me. Thank you for sharing your story, because without you, this cannot be possible. And keep on doing what you're doing. Until next time, cheers.